Hello, everyone. Take a slow, comfortable breath. There is nowhere you need to hurry. For the next little while, let your mind become quiet. Sometimes life feels like standing in front of a long bridge. You know where you want to go, but the other side feels very far away. Perhaps you want to speak English with confidence. Perhaps you want to become healthier. Perhaps you want to worry less. Perhaps you simply want to become a better version of yourself. The dream is clear. The path is not. When we see how far away the other side is, something interesting happens. We stop looking at the first step. Instead, we keep looking at the distance. We think, it is too far. It will take too long. I am not ready. Many dreams become smaller because of those quiet thoughts. Not because the dreams are impossible, but because the distance feels frightening. Imagine standing in front of an old wooden bridge. It stretches across a wide river. You cannot see every board clearly. Some disappear into the morning mist. The other side looks peaceful, but it also feels very far away. You stand there for a long time. You wonder if you should begin. You wonder if you are strong enough. You wonder if you should wait for another day. While you are thinking, someone quietly walks past you. The person does not look stronger than you. The person does not look smarter than you. The person simply takes one step, then another. Nothing amazing happens. The bridge does not suddenly become shorter. The river does not disappear. The wind still blows. The distance is still the same. But something has changed. One person is standing still. The other person is moving. Life often changes that way. Not with one giant decision, but with one small step that is repeated again and again. Think about a child learning to walk. No child stands up for the first time and walks across the whole room. The first step is small. Sometimes the child falls. Sometimes only one step is possible. Sometimes there is no step at all. But no loving parent says, "You only took one step." Instead, they smile. They celebrate. Because they understand something very important. One step is the beginning of every journey. Somehow we forget this as adults. We expect ourselves to be perfect from the beginning. We expect ourselves to know everything before we start. We expect confidence before experience. We expect success before practice. And because those things do not happen, many people never begin. Imagine opening a brand new notebook. The pages are empty. Some people become nervous. What if I make a mistake? What if my writing is not beautiful? Then they close the notebook again. Someone else opens the same notebook. They write one simple sentence. Tomorrow they write another. After many months, one notebook becomes two. Two become five. Five become 10. One sentence never looked important. But together, they became a story. Life grows in the same quiet way. Think about your English. Perhaps you still stop when you hear a difficult word. Perhaps you still translate every sentence in your mind. Perhaps you still feel nervous when you speak. That is perfectly normal. Every person who speaks English well once stood exactly where you are standing now. They also had a first lesson, a first mistake, a first conversation, a first day when nothing seemed easy. The bridge did not become shorter for them. They simply kept walking. Perhaps that is the secret. Not finding a shorter bridge. Not waiting until you feel brave. Not hoping the river will disappear. Simply taking one small step, then trusting that another step will come after that. When people look at a beautiful bridge, they often admire how strong it is. Very few people think about the first piece of wood. The first nail? The first worker who believed a bridge could stand there one day. Every great bridge began when almost nothing could be seen. Perhaps your future is being built in exactly the same way. Not with one extraordinary moment, but with one ordinary step. Then another, and another. Before we continue, I would like you to remember one simple thought. Do not worry about crossing the whole bridge today. Just take the next step. Sometimes. That is more than enough. One small step may not look important. In fact, it may look too small to matter. Imagine walking past a bridge that is still being built. The river is wide. The work is slow. There are piles of wood, heavy ropes, large stones. Workers move quietly from one side to the other. Someone carries one wooden board. Another person brings a hammer. Someone else places one nail into the wood. You stop and watch for a moment. Nothing looks finished. The bridge still cannot be crossed. You may even wonder, will this bridge ever be completed? The workers do not stop to answer. They simply continue. One board, one nail, one rope, one careful step after another. The next morning they return. The bridge still looks unfinished. Another day passes. Still unfinished. A week later, still unfinished. If you only looked for a finished bridge, you might think nothing was happening. But every evening, the bridge is a little longer than it was that morning. Perhaps life changes like that. We often look for big results. We hope to wake up different, more confident, more successful, better at English. But real change rarely arrives all at once. It grows so quietly that we almost miss it. Imagine learning one new English word today, only one. Tomorrow, one more. Next week, another. If someone asked you after 3 days, has your English completely changed? You would probably smile and say, not really. But ask the same question after 1 year. The answer becomes very different. Not because one word changed everything, because one word joined another. Then another. Then another. Small things become powerful when they stay together. Think about a rainy day. One drop of rain seems unimportant. You barely notice it. Then another drop falls. Then another. Soon the road becomes wet. Soon the river begins to rise. No single drop made the river. All the drops did. Habits work in exactly the same way. One page, one lesson, one walk, one kind word, one promise kept. Each one seems ordinary. Each one seems small. But together, they quietly build a different life. Perhaps that is why patience is so difficult. We see today's effort. We cannot yet see tomorrow's reward. Imagine a young man learning to play the piano. On the first day, his fingers move slowly. The music stops again and again. Some notes sound wrong. He feels disappointed. The second day is only a little better. The third day feels almost the same. If he judged himself only by each single day, he might quit. But imagine he continues, not for 1 week, not for 1 month, for 1 whole year. One evening, he sits down at the piano. His hands begin to move. The music flows naturally. People listening quietly say, he is talented. But talent did not appear that evening. It was built on hundreds of ordinary days. The bridge was already growing. No one noticed. Life often hides its most beautiful work. The strongest trees grow quietly. The deepest rivers flow patiently. The greatest bridges rise piece by piece. People grow the same way. Sometimes you may feel that your English is not improving. You still pause before speaking. You still forget words. You still need subtitles. Do not let those moments discourage you. Those moments are not proof that you are failing. They are proof that you are building. Every story you finish becomes another piece of your bridge. Every sentence you understand places another board across the river. Every time you choose to continue instead of giving up, another small piece becomes stronger. One day, you will look back. You will realize that the distance behind you is much greater than the distance ahead. Not because you walked quickly, but because you never stopped walking. Perhaps that is the quiet secret of every bridge. No single piece looks impressive, but without every single piece, there would be no bridge at all. Sometimes we become so busy looking at the distance that we forget to look behind us. Imagine standing in the middle of a long bridge. The other side still looks far away. You sigh. You think, I still have so far to go. You feel tired. You wonder if all your effort has been enough. Then someone quietly asks, have you looked behind you? You turn around. For the first time, you notice something surprising. The place where you started is very far away. Without realizing it, you have already crossed half of the bridge. Life often feels like that. We measure ourselves by what we have not done. Very rarely do we notice what we have already done. Think about your English. Perhaps today you still make mistakes. Perhaps you still need subtitles. Perhaps you still stop to remember simple words. Those things are easy to notice. But think about something else. There was once a time when every English word sounded unfamiliar. Even hello felt difficult. Even short sentences seemed impossible. Now, you understand much more than you did before. Perhaps not everything, but certainly more than yesterday. Growth is sometimes so quiet that only time can hear it. Imagine a traveler walking through a forest. The traveler wants to reach a beautiful mountain. Every hour, the traveler looks toward the mountain. It still looks far away. It doesn't look any closer, so the traveler keeps walking. The trees change slowly. The sound of the river becomes softer. The air becomes cooler. Little by little, the mountain begins to grow larger. The traveler never noticed the change while walking. Only after stopping for a moment does everything become clear. Progress often hides inside movement. That is why patience is so important. When you walk every day, you rarely notice the distance. But if you stop for a moment and look back, you realize how far your feet have carried you. Imagine reading one page every night. One page feels small. After 1 week, the bookmark has barely moved. After 1 month, it has moved a little farther. After 1 year, several books are waiting on your shelf. No single page looked impressive. Together, they changed who you became. English grows in exactly the same way. One story, one lesson, one sentence, one new word. None of them seem life-changing, but they are quietly changing your life. Perhaps the bridge is changing you even more than it is changing your destination. When you first stepped onto the bridge, you were uncertain. You questioned yourself. You wondered if you could continue. Now, you still have questions, but you also have experience. You have kept promises to yourself. You have continued on difficult days. You have learned that progress is not always exciting. Sometimes, progress is simply showing up again. Imagine two people crossing the same bridge. The first person keeps staring at the far end. Every step feels frustrating. It is still too far. It is taking too long. The second person notices something different. Each step is one step farther than yesterday. Each step means the bridge is becoming shorter. Not because the bridge changes, because the traveler does. Both people walk the same bridge, but only one notices the journey. Perhaps happiness grows in the same quiet place, not only when you arrive, but while you continue walking. One calm step, one faithful step, one ordinary step, again, and again, and again. One day, you may finally reach the other side. People will smile. They will congratulate you. They will admire how far you have come. But only you will know the truth. The bridge was never crossed in one brave moment. It was crossed through hundreds of quiet steps. Perhaps that is how every meaningful life is built. Perhaps the hardest part of crossing a bridge is not taking the first step. It is taking the next step, when the other side still looks far away. That is the moment when many people stop. Not because they are weak, not because they are unable, simply because they cannot yet see the ending. Imagine walking across a very long bridge on a quiet morning. A soft mist covers the river. You can see the wooden boards beneath your feet. You can see the railing beside you, but you cannot clearly see the other side. It is hidden by the mist. Would you stop walking just because you cannot see the ending? Probably not. You would trust the bridge. You would keep walking. One careful step, then another. Life asks us to do the same thing. Many beautiful things begin before we can see where they will lead. Think about reading a long book. When you finish the first chapter, you still do not know the ending. After the second chapter, you still have many pages left. If you became impatient every time you turned a page, you would never finish the story. But page after page, the story slowly begins to make sense. Life is often written that way. One ordinary day rarely explains everything. Many ordinary days together tell the whole story. Perhaps your English feels like that today. You listen carefully. You learn a few new words. Tomorrow you forget some of them. The next day you remember a few more. Some days feel successful. Some days feel confusing. If you only judge yourself by today's lesson, you may believe nothing is changing. But today's lesson is only one page. The story is much bigger than one page. Imagine a stonecutter working beside a mountain. Every day, the stonecutter lifts the hammer. One strike, then another, then another. At the end of the day, the rock still looks almost the same. People walking past may smile and say, "You worked all day, and nothing changed." The stonecutter simply smiles, then returns the next morning. Another strike. Another. Another. 100 strikes. 200. 500. Then one morning, the stone suddenly breaks. People say, "That last strike was powerful." But was it really only the last strike? Of course not. Every strike mattered, even the ones that seemed to do nothing. Our lives work the same way. Every lesson matters. Every page matters. Every practice matters. Every kind choice matters, even when today's effort seems invisible. Perhaps especially then. Sometimes we think motivation is what keeps people moving. But after a while, motivation becomes quiet. Something else takes its place. A simple habit. A simple routine. A simple promise. I will do a little today. Then tomorrow, I will do a little again. Those words may not sound exciting, but bridges are not built with excitement. They are built with consistency. Imagine two travelers. One walks very fast. After a short time, the traveler becomes tired, then sits down. The other traveler walks slowly. The steps are small. Nothing looks impressive. But the traveler keeps moving. Morning after morning. Day after day. At sunset. Who has traveled farther? Usually, the one who never stopped. Perhaps that is why the smallest habits often become the strongest. Not because they are powerful by themselves, because they continue. And every day they continue. The bridge becomes a little shorter. The river becomes a little farther behind. The person walking becomes a little stronger. One day, without even noticing, you stop thinking about how far away the other side is. You simply keep walking. Perhaps that is the moment when real growth begins. Not when the bridge becomes easier, but when you become the kind of person who no longer turns back. Perhaps tomorrow will begin like any other day. You will wake up. You will make your bed. You will drink your first cup of water. You will step outside. Perhaps nothing around you will look different. The sky will still be the sky. The road will still be the same. Your English book will still be waiting. Life may look very ordinary, but perhaps something inside you has quietly changed. When this story began, we stood in front of a bridge. The river looked wide. The other side seemed very far away. You were thinking about the distance. You were wondering if you were ready. You were wondering if you could really make it. Those thoughts are natural. Almost everyone has them. But now, before we say goodbye, I would like you to imagine standing in the same place once more. The same bridge. The same river. The same morning light. This time, do not look across the bridge first. Look down. Look at your feet. The first step is no longer in front of you. It is behind you. Then look a little farther back. Another step. Then another. Then another. What once felt impossible has quietly become your past. Perhaps the bridge did not become shorter after all. Perhaps you simply became stronger. That is something we often forget. We wait for life to become easier. But many times, life stays much the same. Instead, we become calmer. We become wiser. We become more patient. We become the kind of person who can keep walking. Think about a child learning to read. At first, every letter feels separate. Every word feels slow. Every page feels difficult. The child does not notice much progress. But one evening, without thinking, the child reads an entire page. Not because that page was easier, because hundreds of small moments were quietly working together. The bridge had been growing every day. The child simply could not see it. English is like that. Life is like that. Confidence is like that. Kindness is like that. Almost everything beautiful grows this way. Slowly, quietly, patiently. Perhaps that is why we should never laugh at small beginnings. One page matters. One lesson matters. One conversation matters. One promise matters. One small step matters. Not because it changes everything today, because it refuses to let tomorrow stay the same. Imagine meeting someone 1 year from now. The person smiles and says, "Your English has become so natural. You seem much more confident. You look so calm. They will notice today's bridge. They will not see the thousands of quiet steps that carried you there. Only you will remember those mornings. The mornings when you felt tired but studied anyway. The evenings when you listened to one more story. The days when you wanted to stop, but chose one more step instead. Those ordinary moments are never wasted. They become part of who you are. Perhaps that is the most beautiful thing about a bridge. A bridge does not ask you to jump. It does not ask you to run. It asks for only one thing. Keep moving. One step, then another. That is enough. More than enough. One day, without hearing any special music, without seeing any bright lights, without even noticing the exact moment, you will step onto the other side. You may stop for a moment. You may turn around. You may look at the bridge behind you. And you may quietly smile. Not because the journey was easy, but because you never gave up. So tomorrow, do not worry about the whole bridge. Do not worry about next month. Do not worry about next year. Simply take the next step. Trust the small habits. Trust the quiet days. Trust the person you are becoming. Because every step you take today is already building tomorrow. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me. I hope that whenever life feels too big, you will remember the bridge, not as something to fear, but as a reminder that every long journey is crossed in exactly the same way, one small step at a time. Take good care of yourself. Keep learning. Keep growing. Remember, small steps can change your life. I'll see you in the next story.